Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, October 9th, 2016. This week we have witnessed the rise and the fall of Travis Crawford. At the beginning of the week, this guy was on top of his game. He was practically walking on air around the halls and the cafeteria of Newman Enterprises. He is shaking hands and kissing babies, flashing that gorgeous, charming, big old smile that you know I happen to fall for. I mean, he was on point. Abby and Summer are practically in the corner, giggling and fawning over him. Everyone is. I mean, I'm watching Travis make his rounds, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy is smooth. He's secure. He's bold, and he's savvy. He knows what he's talking about. He's a competent business guy. This adds so much great new dimension to his character. I'm watching him thinking, I could watch this guy for the next 20 years. He's just giving me everything I want from a male lead on a soap opera. I mean, for crying out loud, he marches into Victor Newman's office, asking him, actually declaring and kind of demanding Adam's old office, Victor's dead son's old office. Adam's been dead for just maybe a month in soap opera time, and Travis is ready to run in there and plant his flag into Victor's dead son's office, and Victor gave it to him, gave Travis the best office in the building other than Victor's, of course. I mean, it was like, I should have seen the writing on the wall. It all went downhill after that. I mean, Travis was at the top of the mountain, and by the end of the week, he was at the bottom. I was in fact, he had fallen into the valley. It was crazy. Being stuck in the elevator with Ashley at the end of last week, very beginning of this week, revealed to us, the viewers, that Ashley and Travis sort of knew each other a little bit. They traveled in the same circles. They had met before, spent some time frolicking together in the Hamptons, probably eating finger sandwiches and playing tennis or whatever rich people do. They were doing it. And next thing you know, Travis is getting this bouquet of flowers from a mystery woman called Michelle. And he's in the park accusing Ashley of sending the flowers to him. I was gobsmacked. What happened here? Travis and Ashley, it seemed very, very friendly. And then all of a sudden we've got Michelle and Ashley having something to do with it. It was very confusing, but apparently a friend of Ashley's who just also happens to be someone that Travis slept with, only she's not just any old person that Travis slept with. She's a friend of Ashley's that Travis slept with, who also happened to be his boss's wife. Ooh! Our golden boy Travis, who, by the way, I can't remember if it was Jill or Victor or somebody called Travis golden boy this week, which, you know, hit me right in my missing Brad Carlton shaped hole that is in my life, which can only be temporarily filled by Bill Spencer on Bold and the Beautiful. But my Brad Carlton senses were just all aflame this week as they called Travis golden boy. I mean, Brad Carlton also slept his way to the top, which is what Travis is being accused of. But I mean, Travis slept with his boss's wife, and not only that, okay, the boss, this is a little tidbit that I feel like really could have been just talked about a little more. Travis slept with the boss's wife, and the boss was a mentor to him. I got the impression that this was a guy who meant something to Travis. They were not just associates, but they were friends. So Travis really betrayed this close business guy, someone who went out of his way for him, got him the job, and slept with the guy's wife. Well, This is so juicy and so soap opera-y. I think that's why I like it so much. Mr. Boss Man caught Travis and Michelle in the act of having their little affair. Probably in bed together, literally. And the boss fired Travis on the spot and blackballed him all around town, all around New York City. I hate the term blackballed. I think if there was a drinking game and I took a shot every time someone this week said blackballed, I would be very, very wasted right now. There's something about that term that just feels dirty to me. I don't know why. It's just maybe I don't know what it is, but I wish YNR would just stop saying it. Let's find a different term. We ostracized Travis. Travis was ostracized from NYC high society as well as business society. Travis wasn't able to get a job now that the boss made sure everybody knew what he did and nobody hired him. So all of a sudden, Travis Crawford and his heroic story of having a shift in his morals, deciding to set aside the Gordon Gekko, greed is good type of mentality of Wall Street and slip into the pure and simple life. That wasn't quite the full picture. Mr. Travis Crawford painted half a picture. Maybe he used Patty's paint set. I don't know. But it was really kind of a revelation here that everything we know about Travis has been glossed over. The edges have been made fuzzy, which I think, of course, makes his character far, far, far more interesting. And now, by the way, that Michelle has told Ashley the truth, Travis realizes that he has to defuse this bomb before it blows up on him and he has no control over it. Travis knew right away that, or he suspected right away, that Ashley was going to go blabbing around town. So he decided to go to Victoria directly before she can find out from someone else. And I mean, it's probably just me, but I kind of didn't expect Victoria to have such a negative reaction. I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? If I was Victoria, I would not be happy about Travis and learning all of this information. It makes Travis look like a climber. It makes him look like a manipulator and a liar and a guy who sleeps his way to the top. I mean, she was married to Brad. I can't help making this comparison, but I love it so much. But you know, I mean, I think Victoria's kind of been there before. She probably knows this kind of guy. And don't get me wrong, I understand why all of the reasons she should not be happy with him clearly. But I will say, in Travis's defense of his cute little buns, which I'm clearly clouded by still, I feel like I kind of get his perspective. If we're given the whole story now and this is it, if this is all that he's hiding, then I kind of understand that what happened to him, kind of getting drawn in by a woman, which everybody else in Genoa City has also done. I mean, we saw what's going on with the Billy and Phyllis affair right now. We understand mentally how it is to get drawn into an affair, even though you know the spouse or are connected to the spouse and friends or brothers or whatever it may be. I mean, I can understand how Travis would have gotten drawn into that world and made that mistake, and then having gone through the fallout of it, to me, it's empathetic that it's part of his past, and it was a humiliating part of his past. And if I was him, I wouldn't necessarily want to hang my shame out there on the line for everybody to see. And I can probably safely say that I wouldn't want to hang it out there for someone that I was just getting to date, just starting to know. I would want to put my best self forward. I think that's fairly common. People kind of put their best self forward. So to me, it's not the world's worst world's worst sin that Travis could have committed. And as far as this being a pattern of behavior for Travis, we really can't ignore Victoria came to him. He didn't seek her out and decide to get close to her and snug up and then go for the position at Newman Enterprises. She used a false identity to get to know him, and little by little he got kind of pulled into her world, and they started talking, and maybe frankly Travis is attracted to powerful women and money and sex, and Victoria fit all of those categories. But what guy wouldn't be? What guy wouldn't be attracted to all of those things? And once again, I feel like Travis certainly did not go looking for it. Travis was running a bar. He was, he went off with his boat. Like, he was perfectly content to not have the woman and the money and the sex and the power. It kind of came to him. So that's my pitch to you guys in defense of Travis, because I find him to be such an interesting new character, and he has those juicy buns. So that's my pitch to you. But I mean, I'm not saying I think he's totally redeemable here, or that he didn't do anything wrong. I think that what Victoria is really pissed about here, what's really going on here in Victoria's mind, is that she's pissed about the realization that Travis isn't perfect. He's not the perfect man. He's not the anti-Billy. He doesn't walk on air. He does make mistakes. He is capable of lying, just like every other human being on the planet, but especially like Billy. Billy was hilarious this week. He was smug, he was self-righteous, witty, impetulant. He was giving me a total Michael Keaton vibe, and I love Michael Keaton. So I was really kind of into Billy this week. I mean, we may not like all of those character traits. I don't like smug people or self-righteous people in real life, but on the show, I feel like the actor was really giving it. I mean, he may not be the best fit in a lot of our minds for the Billy we want to see, maybe the Billy Miller version of the Billy, but I really liked the actor this week. I thought the writing was funny and the delivery was good. Billy sparring with Victoria, he had a lot of funny lines. He has a lot of pent-up aggression right now for any number of reasons. He's trying to accept Travis as a part of Victoria's life, and he ended up letting it all air out during this interview for Brash and, or with the new GC Buzz. Hillary is trying to interview Brash and Sassy to talk about business and to actually be a legitimate news source, and Billy cannot stop himself from digging at Victoria and making little remarks at Kane, and he winds up storming out of the interview and into a bar, of course. Where else would Billy go? And it's the same bar, the Great Minds Think Alike bar, where Travis has gone to. So both of these guys are there drinking together. They've been in opposition for all of these weeks, pretty much since Travis came into the picture. I can really remember Billy walking into that exact same bar, grabbing Travis by his collar and threatening him when it came to Victoria. And now here they both are sitting on bar stools, probably lamenting life and Victoria and all of the stuffs, and playing a game of pool. I mean, like, I absolutely loved seeing these two guys shooting pool together, taking shots, just actually strangely getting along. Like the vibe of it was, we are adversaries, but yeah, we're gonna hang up that for just a minute and just play some pool and be guys. It was really kind of cool until the bar fight. There's this other brute guy, and we know he's brute because he's wearing a tank top and he's got longer hair. He's one of those unsavory types, and he starts making comments at the guys. Billy lips off back to him, gets punched, and both Travis and Billy wind up in jail. So side by side behind bars. Next week is going to be so fabulous to find out what Victoria's reaction to all of this is going to be, and wink wink, what the rest of the town's reaction is going to be when it's splattered all over Juicy Buzz TV. I love it. I thought it was fun. I thought both Travis and Billy were really fun and exciting this week. Did you guys feel that way, or am I alone on this boat? I don't know, but just before Travis went to the bar, there was this great scene where Travis decides to reveal his big secret to Jill, of all people. I think Travis he's in the mode of knowing that everybody's going to find out about this anyway. News is going to travel quick. He gets how these people operate, especially these rich people and the gossip and all that stuff. So he decides to just go to Jill, or when she approaches him, he doesn't hide it. He tells her the truth. And Jill, right in front of Travis's eyes, comes to this incredible conclusion where she looks at him and doesn't hesitate to say to his face, "Oh, it all makes sense now. No wonder Victor hired you, that he's interested in you. You're just a pale imitation of Billy." Oh, that moment. I, first of all, could not even believe that she would dare say that to his face. That was the biggest burn she could have possibly said. I gasped. I felt terrible for Travis, of course, because in that moment, I think he questioned himself like, oh, am I? I think it really rocked Travis to his core. Maybe I am just like Billy. And I gotta toss that question out to you guys this week. Is it true? Is that true? Was Jill's observation correct? Are Travis and Billy far more alike than they are different? Do you see similarities with them? I have to be honest with you. I'd love to get your comments on this week, because I'm not totally seeing it. I feel like the scene in the bar and all of the tension that's gone on between the two guys is supposed to make me think, and the revelation of this information about Travis is supposed to make me think that he's just like Billy, but I feel like Travis, as far as we know, if all of the information is out, which it probably isn't, I don't know, but if it's all there, then Travis made one bad decision. And it's a decision I can kind of, you can kind of get there and see and understand what it would have been like to walk in his shoes. Billy, on the other hand, his whole life has been one bad decision after another. It wasn't just one bad move. It's been many bad moves. And the magnitude of the bad moves that Billy has made is far more epic. I mean, I'm sorry, but the gambling stuff on its own, that seems so extreme. I mean, getting beat up by bookies and Left 4 Dead, that's, to me, it's just far more extreme of screw-uppery than sleeping with the boss's wife. I mean, to me, it almost implies, what if the worst of Travis is true and he is a climber who sleeps his way to the top, it implies almost more of an intelligence or more of an intent, more of an intelligent, manipulative intent on Travis's part, whereas Billy, to me, is more of a fun-loving screw-up, or maybe that's just the difference in my memory of the character, pre-recasts versus now. I'm not sure. I really would love to kind of get an idea of where you guys are feeling about about this issue. Are Travis and Billy more alike than they are different? I mean, Jill did make one good point about where there's one secret, there could be more. So we'll see. I mean, maybe there is more to Travis. Maybe the similarities are going to start to unfold as the rest of the story unfolds. But of course, can you even believe it took a blink of an eye? Jill goes to see Victor immediately. She wants to share this information about Travis, the golden boy. She wants to burst the bubble. And judging, by Victor's reaction, I was thinking, there's no way that Victor doesn't already know this, and I think his reaction made it ring even more true. Victor's been having Travis investigated. I can't imagine that somebody through the grapevine wouldn't have known this information and told Victor. I feel like Victor already knew. And when Jill told Victor, he said, you know, you really shouldn't, I love this line, you shouldn't throw stones in glass houses that you've had affairs in. How true. Can we just put that on a banner and hang it on the wall in everyone's office? Because that could really be the Young and the Restless tagline for the week. Don't throw stones in the houses, glass houses that you've had affairs in. It was such a good zinger. I tell you, this is what I think. I think that ultimately Victor could care less if Victoria winds up with Travis or not. Although I think he'd prefer Victoria to be with anybody but Billy. But what Victor's main objective is with Travis is to gain a business ally. I think Victor wants someone with the skills, someone who has something to prove, which is going to be Travis more than ever, and someone who can be Victor's right-hand man, his general, if you will, in this upcoming war that is brewing yet again between our Abbotts and our Newmans. We are getting back to basics here, fundamentals of Y&R. Make no mistake that the stage is very much set right now for a Jack versus Victor battle royale. It's gonna be something else because, Jack is not mad enough to go after Victor after Victor had him kidnapped and replaced with a double who slept with, basically molested his wife. Oh no, Jack's not upset enough to go after Victor for pulling that stunt, but Jack is all primed for revenge against Victor once he finds out his wife separately slept with his brother. The irony is not lost on any of us, I'm sure. I mean, like, Jack is pulling up reports on Newman Enterprises. He's calling Newman Enterprises board members to, I don't know, see if maybe he can buy a board seat or something. And it's like, Jack, why now? Why this? That got up under your skin? I mean, Victor and the whole Marco debacle made you kill a woman. I mean, poor Kelly lost her life as a result of that, and you couldn't muster up any desire to get revenge against Victor then, but now? I mean, I'm gonna just take the leap of faith and assume that Jack has realized that the path of Zen just did not work for him, and now he's just gonna he's going back to the path of revenge, which also did not work for him, by the way. Jack's been down both paths. It never works out. I think we need a middle way, my friend. We need a middle way. The one woman, by the way, who can sense this storm gathering, she is seeing the clouds, is Nikki. Oh Lord, she is trying so hard to stop what she knows is coming. She tells Victor this week, look, I know you're getting ready to go after Jack. I can see it in both of you, frankly. I think you're both itching to have a battle with each other. It was so cool though, by the way, how they're having this conversation, argument, if you will, in the back of their car, like I'm assuming limo. I'm assuming they have like a limo driver or some nice sedan that drives them around. And she's like, it just seemed like they were having this conversation in the back of a motorcade, like he's the president and the first lady. It's just, there was something very rich about it, which I appreciated. Y&R is definitely still trying to give us these different angles of things. I, of course, did appreciate Jack being in his bedroom this week, taking off his wedding ring, and it's just, Y&R is trying to give us better senses of where we are. I mean, there was some that we're even getting new halls of Jabot, places, you know, corridors that we hadn't seen before. So if I don't always get a chance to mention every new little angle, I am still absolutely loving just getting something a little bit fresh and new from the new regime. I thought it was wonderful. But back to the story, Nikki ends up going to Jabot to talk to Jack to try to get some sense into him, saying, look, I think you both are getting ready to do this. I can see the pattern. And if you guys go to war again, it's not just going to be the businesses that get hurt. It's going to be the families. It's going to be the people. And she tries so hard to appeal to him, and he somehow manages to reassure her with his Jack slickness, but she surely cannot fall for it. I think she knows better than anybody what's coming. And the really weird thing is, this actually kind of bugs me. Phyllis is singing the exact same tune as Nikki. What's up with that? Like, Phyllis ran into Victor this week, and she's given him a speech about ending the war between the Newmans and the Abbotts? What is going on? Is this the same Phyllis? I mean, we've seen a radical change then in Phyllis's attitude. She was eavesdropping on that whole conversation with Nikki, and she was sneaking into Jack's office at the very end of Friday's show to look on his computer and realize that he is researching Newman Enterprises, and she's saying out loud to herself, "Oh no, Jack, if you're mad at me, be mad at me, but don't go to war with Victor." What? Like, can you hear, like, I hear the screeching of brakes, like the cars. What's going on here? This, like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that this is Phyllis. I'm shocked that she isn't offering to take up arms with him as a way to get back into his good graces. She is filing reports and trying to find ways to get back with Jack, and she's really being unrelenting. Doing late nights, working these crappy menial tasks that Jack's having her do. The best possible thing you could do to get back into Jack's graces would be to take up arms along with him, join the battle, work together toward revenge on Victor the way you wanted to all along. Isn't that what you always wanted? Isn't that the reason why you had the affair with Billy in the first place? You were longing for someone to connect with who had the same desire to get back at Victor and give it to him, as, you know, in a way that he gave it to us. So what's going on here? I'm confused by you, Phyllis. But by the way, I loved her comment to Victor during that little scene at the athletic club where she says, you know, as we speak, Jack is trying to get back at you by scouring the globe to try to find a man who looks just like you. I loved that dig. The writing is so good right now. And it blew my mind. How about that? That idea, a Victor Newman double. I mean, talk about tearing a hole in the universe. Seriously, what is up with Abby and Stitch? Are we making up or are we breaking up here? I need to know because it's getting dragged out for way too long and I'm getting kind of tired of it. Every week it's, oh, I think we're going to break up, and then by the end of the week it's, let's make up. First of all, I think it's extraordinarily weird that Stitch scheduled an appointment for Abby to see a fertility doctor. I mean, if it was him scheduling an appointment for himself, I'd be like, okay, but it's bizarre that he scheduled it for her and then hounded her to go to the appointment. I think it's weird and it's immature. Stitch is a grown man. Does he really think that having a baby is going to repair what is obviously broken between them? I mean, I'm not saying Stitch is a rocket scientist, but he is a doctor. He is a fairly intelligent and I would think intuitive man. What could he be thinking? Doesn't he realize there's a real problem in this relationship and just getting pregnant is not going to solve it? And when did Abby become the mature one? That's the bigger question here. She knows that that's not going to solve anything, and ooh, she revealed to Stitch this week that the reason they're not getting pregnant is because she's still taking her birth control pills. Oh, that was a moment right there. That was scandalous. That was a real honest moment. It was pretty raw. I thought it was great. I liked their awkward break room conversation / fight / kiss and make up for the 100 millionth time, but only temporarily. It was interesting to watch, but just on the overall, I'm not getting it. Abby goes to Victor, of all people, to talk about her marriage. I mean, she talked to everybody, it seemed. I thought that Summer and Abby had some good conversations about it this week, which is weird, because considering these are two people who really shouldn't like one another, and Summer really shouldn't want to give Abby relationship advice, considering she slept with her husband. But the conversation with Victor was also interesting, because I thought to myself, Victor's advice was to Abby. At one point he told her that like, you need to have fights in a relationship. Like, having arguments is really a good idea in your relationship so that you don't get too comfortable. That's his key to longevity, in a marriage with Nikki. I mean, I could barely contain myself hearing him speak about that. But it actually, it wasn't too bad hearing him be honest about his relationship with her, or with Nikki. I suppose it was helpful to Abby on some level. She is his daughter. But I hope that Victor meant what he said about having more fights with Nikki being good for their relationship, right? Because if having fights with Nikki is good for their relationship, Nikki and Victor are about to be happier than ever. Oh, Nikki and Victor fans are going to be so delighted. Right. Oh, so Abby and Stitch decide to have kind of a makeup dinner, which should have been reassuring, but something is still off for Abby. Something is still missing for her. She confides in Ashley about it, and it feels like we're right back at square one. And Ashley, let me tell you, we all know how much Ashley loves minding her own business right now. right? No, actually, Ashley is like up in everyone's business right now, and I still think that she is going to get close to Stitch, maybe thinking that she is helping, maybe thinking that she's going to save her daughter's marriage, and she is going to end up in one of those glass houses having an affair that she's been throwing stones at. Ooh, before I get into the madness that is Sharon and Patty, can I just tell you, like months ago, and I'm telling, this has been in my mind and bugging me every time that I see Sharon's house for a while now. I mentioned it a couple months ago. There was this mystery photo that was sitting on the mantle, and it was driving me crazy. Sharon has a picture of Cassie up there, a picture of Mariah, a picture of Noah, and then there was this picture of someone holding a baby, and I could not figure out for the life of me. It looked like Tracy Abbott or something to me. It looked like an old woman to me. And this week, Y&R did a close-up pan of Sharon's mantle and all of the photos and who was in the mystery photo. It was Faith holding Sully. What? Why didn't I think of that on my own? I mean, they're like all photos of Sharon's children. It should have dawned on me that it was Faith, but it looked like an old lady. It could have been Constance Bingham, for crying out loud. Or like, I thought to myself, is this Doris? Is this Sharon's mom? She's blonde now? I was so confused. I cannot believe. Faith was wearing like a sweater and then a collar. Like, it was like a button-up shirt with the collar hanging out over a cable knit sweater, and it looked just, I guess, so old lady or something. But mystery freaking solved. The photo on the mantle. In fact, at one point I had tried to screen cap it. I was gonna put it up on the website to see if anybody could help me solve the mystery, and I didn't end up doing it. I couldn't get a good screen cap of it, but now we know. Didn't take Dylan to help me get to the bottom of that case. Okay, so Patty Williams has gone from catatonic, okay, not speaking, not doing anything, saying anything except singing little lullabies, totally cracked. She was totally cracked after like stabbing Dr. Anderson to death, and now all of a sudden Patty is completely lucid. She is conniving, and she is very, very clever, and she is threatening Sharon big time. So these hang up phone calls it's no longer just hang-ups and breathings. All of a sudden now Patty is willing to reveal herself out of the blue to Sharon to let her know that she knows what she knows. Patty says in no uncertain terms, I know that Sully is not your baby, and oh yeah, by the way, I have the power to expose your secret. Oh Lord, which sends Sharon into a panic, a tizzy. I mean, her eyes were practically popping out of her head, dropping down on the floor and rolling away all week. I mean, Sharon knows that she has to do anything and everything she can do to keep the lid on this. She goes to visit Patty in jail. I can't even believe that Sharon had to pick up and touch one of those jail phones. Ew, it's so germy. I'm surprised she didn't have like a little setup of, what do you call that, hand sanitizer or Lysol or something to wipe down that whole area. Of course, it's not a jail, but you know, a mental institution, a criminally insane mental institution, probably just as bad. But I mean, Sharon goes, they're talking through the glass on those phones, and Patty, oh man, this woman is smug. I couldn't believe it. I mean, Patty's been a lot of things. We've seen a lot of different incarnations of her because she sometimes is very sweet, and we have seen her be extremely manipulative, but I was surprised at how smug she was towards Sharon and how very easily Sharon was rattled by the whole thing. I mean, Patty threatens to expose Sharon's secret because clearly everyone is going to believe the rantings and ravings of a criminally insane mental patient. But Sharon decides, I suppose, that she cannot risk even the hint of this getting out into the public. So she finally caves in and says to Patty, fine, what do you want from me? At which point, Patty reveals herself to also be a masterful blackmailer, telling Sharon that she wants out of the mental institution. Patty wants to be out amongst the sun and the clouds and the kitties meow meow. Set this psycho free. I happen to agree. Set Patty free. Bring her back. Let her roam around Genoa City and wreak havoc. That would be just fine with me. But like, how the hell is Sharon supposed to do that? Bake a hacksaw into a cake or what? A pretty pink cake with a hacksaw inside of it? I have no clue. But I get the impression, and I went back and rewound and watched this twice. I get the impression that Sharon thinks that Patty is just asking to get like transferred to a different facility or to maybe be released into Paul's care. But in Patty's mind, I'm pretty sure she's seeing this as bust me out, like a I want to be completely free kind of scenario. And I just have no idea how Sharon is going to pull this off, or why she would risk having a lifetime of Patty's continued threats over just like deflecting her wild accusations. I would just be like, nah, she's crazy. Well, there's no reason to listen to Patty. I mean, what Patty's gonna say one thing and Dylan's just gonna decide to get a DNA test to make sure his son is his? That would be ridiculous. I mean, Sharon's reaction is extreme here, but I loved when she said to Patty, look, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna shut your mouth, Patty. You're not gonna say another word about this baby stuff, and I'm gonna find a way to get you out of here. I thought that was such a frank moment that I wasn't expecting, because Sharon tried so hard to not give in to Patty. I mean, I think she was very hostile toward Patty during the conversation the entire time. She definitely didn't try to use any honey to catch the fly. She was pretty hostile toward her right away, and finally it was a real honest moment of fine, I'll do what you want. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'll get you out of here, and give me that stupid phone while you're at it. So Patty forks over the cell phone that she's been using to call Sharon. And of course, Dylan is on the case with the prank calls, which has now evolved in his mind into Sharon has a stalker. And it's hard sometimes to watch Dylan follow these leads, knowing that they're not going to probably lead anywhere. I mean, he'd probably be better off just spoon feeding Sharon mac and cheese rather than going off and following this wild goose chase. The thing is, Sharon snatches the phone from Patty, and because Dylan is so laser focused on that phone, she gets Mariah involved, and Mariah ditches the phone in a garbage can in Chancellor Park for Dylan and Kevin to easily find. I tell you, I think that Kevin is on to Mariah. I think he's already very suspicious of her. I think enough of the puzzle pieces are coming together for him. And if we think about it, Kevin has been suspicious of Sharon for a while now. He knows that something ain't right in that house. Something ain't right with Mariah's mom, and Mariah was never really able to fully confide in him, but I think that maybe Kevin is going to see himself being a friend to Mariah, maybe trying, thinking that he's going to help her or something, but I just have a feeling that Sharon has now sucked Mariah into this mess further, and I worry that Mariah is in turn going to end up sucking Kevin into this mess too, and at the end of the day, nothing is going to stop the truth from raining down as hell on Nick and Dylan. Whoa, Nick and Chelsea to the max this week. I mean, that whole park montage where they're rolling around on a picnic blanket together with Connor being the happiest little family that ever was, it was a bit much for me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that these two people aren't very cute together, but whoa, it's a little soon. And frankly, I think you guys agree with me because last week's poll question was, is it too soon for a Nick and Chelsea romance? 76% of you said yes. It is way too soon. We had 24% saying, nah, bring it on. But I really liked all of the comments that I got here too. I just think that people in general maybe would have been able to jump on board with this couple, but it does kind of feel like it's getting kind of crammy, like it's getting crammed in our throat here. I mean, I've got, let's see, Tina Cole here on yrchat.com saying, I think they need to show Chelsea crying and grieving over Adam more. And I can kind of see that too. It almost seems like Chelsea isn't necessarily spending a lot of time thinking about Adam. I mean, she mentions him, of course, and she misses her husband, of course, but there's also a part where it's it just, I don't know, it seems like a little bit much. Although Jasmine left a comment saying, I don't want to see Chelsea cry. I'd rather see her keep doing what she's doing, being strong and not fragile. So I can definitely see both sides of that coin. But, Nick went through this really long process of grief when he lost Sage, and it just seems like Chelsea's is so much shorter, and I'm not hanging that on the character or any of them. I'm not really hanging that on Nick or on Chelsea. I'm kind of hanging it on the writing here and the direction. I just think that maybe Y&R is pushing this one a little too hard, and I wish that they would pull back. For crying out loud, I tell you, I think that I wonder if they are going to recast Adam. Yes, I have heard the rumors about Michael Mooney possibly coming back, but I'm going to believe it when I see it. Let me tell you, I don't know if we're ever going to get an Adam. I don't know if it would be Michael Mooney, but I can tell you it ain't going to be Justin Hartley. That show that he's on right now, This Is Us, has so much buzz. Even my mom says to me, oh, Allie, This This Is Us is such a good show. I just finished watching the first 3 episodes. You have to watch it. Like, it's crazy how it's all intertwined. My mom actually said this is the best show I've seen in a while. And not only that, like, I just am hearing so many random people who don't know I watch Y&R even, or that would make that connection necessarily. Everybody's talking about This Is Us. We will never see Justin Hartley again. So sorry, Y&R fans, he is gone forever. He is Shamar Moore gone. Like, maybe we can get a cameo years and years and years from now, but if anybody's holding out hope, you better just watch This Is Us, because that's the only place you're going to be able to see him. And maybe I will binge watch it at some point, because, I mean, it sounds like it's amazing, and it would be a reason to watch it, but we'll see maybe in the future. I did also really like, by the way, Chelsea ripping Sharon a new one for being a matchmaker. I thought Nick was kind of harsh on Sharon. Like, I don't know, something about the way Nick said it seemed a little bit mean, but Chelsea was a little more funny, and Sharon's reaction to it was a little more funny. Sharon's kind of tired. She made one little statement, and now all of a sudden, both Nick and Chelsea are coming for her like she did something really horrible, and everybody's talking about it. I mean, Sharon's like, sorry, I didn't mean to suggest, but it was kind of funny to see Chelsea ripping into her. I kind of am wondering, in general, if we're going to see a couples shake up in the very near future, because I've got some breaking news here. Ding, 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 breaking news. For anybody who doesn't know, casting shocker, Steve Burton as Dylan is out. He's leaving The Young and the Restless. Now, first of all, I did read his announcement to his fans, and it's completely his decision. So we are not blaming Y&R for this. He said that he is choosing to not renew his contract in December. So I'm assuming that means his final air date will probably be somewhere maybe late January to February, possibly. But he's decided not to come back to the show. It's so I don't know how to feel about this, except that I feel sad, because it comes at a time where I was actually, as much as I'm making fun of Dylan for always being off of the trail, I kind of did enjoy him this week. I was thinking to myself, he really fits this detective role that Paul used to have perfectly. I mean, it's just kind of a role that needs to be there. The viewers need to feel like a truth is being pursued, but you can't let the detective find out what the truth is before it's time for the big reveal. So whoever is in that sort of detective role is always going to end up kind of looking like a fool. And I think that Steve Burton as Dylan has done a really, really good job of filling those shoes. So I am disappointed. I haven't been the world's biggest Sharon and Dylan fan. I think that they are cute, but they never had like an oomph for me. They've never been one of my absolute favorite star couples, but I still really do like him on the show. He seems like a nice guy off the show. I thought he had great chemistry with his dad and his mom, and just I liked seeing him interact with the rest of Genoa City. He turned out to be a really, really good fit and a really, really good get, in my opinion. But I want to know how you guys feel. Let's make that our poll question for this week. Steve Burton leaving Y&R, Dylan gone. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Are you a Dylan fan? Are you sad to hear this news? Or are you kind of like, meh, I wasn't feeling him? YRChat.com is where you can cast your vote to let me know how you feel about this breaking news. And also, if you'd like to leave comments about his exit, maybe share some things you do and don't like about the Dylan character, I would really like to hear from you guys this week about this topic. I don't know. I kind of wonder, it's hard not to wonder if the revelation of Sully's paternity is going to be what drives Dylan out of town. How will will Y&R write him off the show? Although, of course, they would have to stretch out the paternity reveal quite a bit longer, and I'm not sure that they're going to do that. I feel like this maybe is building to be our November sweeps story. So I'm assuming that the paternity truth will be revealed already at the time that Dylan has left the show. Maybe he will try to fix his relationship or salvage his relationship with Sharon, but ultimately he is going to leave, and Sharon is going to be isolated and left alone. And I keep thinking to myself, is there any chance that Nick will gravitate back to her, since she is the only mother that Christian knows? Did someone slip hallucinogens into the punch? That was last week's Who Said It quote, and I think almost overwhelmingly everyone got that one correct. It was Sharon who made that zingy line at Faith's birthday party last week. She was talking to Nikki, and I believe they were looking out up and seeing Victor and Dylan getting along. I think they might have even been shaking hands. I think I'm right about who they were commenting on, Victor and Dylan, but it was such a jarring moment for them both. Sharon said, did someone slip hallucinogens into the bunch? So you guys really busted me on that one. I've got 19 people who got it right. This is crazy. So bear with me. I'm going to take a deep breath and announce the winners, who are Henry, Sandra, Candida, Sharita, Ryan, Edith, Aaron, Justin, T. Nicole, Jennifer, Angela, Gina, Troy, Leslie, Shar, Jana, Tanya, Robbie, and Tommy. Congratulations to all of you. You got me on that one. But I don't know. Maybe you will or won't get this one. I had a hard time. I was trying to find a good challenging one this week. I don't know if I was successful or not. But do you know who said this? Simply, Hillary's legit. It was just one of those statements that got me. Hillary's legit. Who on earth would think such a thing? Especially given what we saw in the previews for next week. So if you think you know who said Hillary's legit, sure she is, you can go to yrchat.com to leave your guess, and if you get it right, I will give you your big announcement of winnerhood on next week's Y&R Chat. Let's get into this Chatterbox. Katie on Facebook says, if I was Sharon, I'd play it cool with Patty. I understand she doesn't want the secret to get out, but if I were her, I would just pretend Patty and I were on the same side. Make her feel important. Tell her she was protecting Dylan and Paul's feelings by protecting the secret. Katie, that's brilliant. That is exactly what Sharon should have done. That's exactly what I was thinking too. I'm watching Sharon take this adversarial defensive position with Patty rather than trying to counter manipulate. And it was the total wrong move. I think that Patty was probably like a bear or a rabid dog smelling fear on Sharon, and she just knew it. It was written all over her face, and Patty pounced and Sharon lost. And now she has made a terrible situation about 100 million times worse. So much for logic. I suppose we can't apply it to most of Genoa City's residents, but specifically and most often to Sharon. Superplex at yrchat.com says, what could have possibly convinced Mariah that Chancellor Park was a safe place to dispose of the cell phone? Is she unaware of the fact that the park is replete with closed circuit TV cameras? It was accessing a video of those cameras by Courtney Sloan that led to her murder. The next thing that Kevin is going to do now that he has gotten possession of the telephone is immediately head back to the station and log onto his computer into the surveillance video, and it will show Mariah dropping the telephone in the trash bin. Amen, Superplex. Exactly. I was thinking the same thing about the security cameras. I hadn't remembered that about Courtney though. That's a really good pull. But yeah, I mean, proof proof right there that there are security cameras in Chancellor Park. I mean, there are security cameras everywhere. Mariah's connected to Kevin. Hello, yes, of course he's gonna go back and check that surveillance, and he's gonna end up busting her out. I don't know if that'll end up happening next week, but judging by the fact that Kevin and Dylan found the phone and both already kind of knew something was suspicious about it, like that it was placed in such a way that they were supposed to find it. There's no way that that's not going to raise a red flag. Kevin's going to go right back to his laptop and hack away. Consuela at yrchat.com says regarding the Sully Christian storyline, I keep thinking that it's not only going to be devastating to the main players when the truth comes out, but I also think about Nikki. Dylan and Nick are both her sons. Yes, Consuela, I think this is a secret that isn't just going to affect Nick and Dylan and Sharon, but that it is going to be devastating to Nikki. And I will also say I'm sad also that Steve Burton is leaving, because Nikki has been so happy to have her son, and I mean, it's taken such a long time for Victor and to accept Dylan as her son, and for her to build trust with Dylan, and for, you know, for that relationship to develop, and for the siblings to like him. It is so sad that he is going to be leaving, and I think Nikki is going to be really crushed when she finds out that this has gone on between her sons, especially if Dylan were to stay, and if it would have caused maybe some battles to happen between Nick and Dylan over the child. I think that would have really caught Nikki in the middle and been had her in a sad spot. But I'm guessing that Dylan's maybe just going to, I mean, who knows, maybe he'll even take the baby and leave, for all I know, or not like steal the baby, although that wouldn't be out of his character. But who knows, maybe Dylan will get custody and take the baby away. I hadn't thought of that. Aaron on YouTube says, I love Mariah versus Chloe. And I love Mariah versus Chloe too, Aaron. I cannot help mentioning this because there's just something in the back of my mind that won't go away. I keep wondering if Chloe could play a role in busting out the Sharon and Mariah secret. First of all, Chloe has the connection to Kevin. It's certainly possible that Kevin will start talking about Mariah, start talking about Sharon, maybe as he's in the process of putting together the pieces of what's going on there, he accidentally lets something slip to Chloe or outright confides in her. And Chloe does, I would think, have a little bit of a motive to get involved. Chloe has this intense and creepy connection to Chelsea, and I think that Chloe doesn't want Chelsea and Nick to get together. So I could almost see Chloe getting involved in the Sharon situation and or maybe accidentally learning the truth about the paternity secret and having a vested interest in busting it out, hoping that somehow the truth will draw Nick away from Chelsea back to Sharon, leaving Chloe to have Chelsea all to herself. Maybe that's a far-fetched theory, but I wanted to mention that it was moving around in my brain. Gary left me a voicemail this week saying, all of a sudden, everyone is wearing buns and obsessed with donuts. Don't think I didn't notice that Chelsea was wearing that high bun that we've seen Chloe wearing week after week. It's like the bun has gotten so high on Chloe's head that it's jumped over onto Chelsea's head. Also Chelsea was doing a total Chloe look this week because it was the high bun and pale skin and dramatic red lip. So she was giving a complete Chloe effect. And I was thinking the same thing about the donuts. Kevin got some yummy looking donuts this week, which made my mouth drool a little bit. And we had Nick bringing Chelsea donuts a couple weeks ago. Like, did Y&R get a contract with a donut vendor locally? I mean, they got a little extra production value now, so maybe they're bringing in some flowers, donuts, and such. Or did somebody just run to the craft services table to get those? Or what's the donut deal? It was funny. Also, Gary brings up a really good point that I want to make sure to suss out here. Gary says, who did Patty recruit to purchase the doll? and put on Sharon's doorstep. Okay, so we all know that Patty she essentially stole the cell phone from a plumber who was at a fair, or at whatever the name of the institution was. So that's how she got her hands on the cell phone. But how did she get her hands on the doll, have it personally delivered to Sharon's house for Faith? Is that a valid, question? Is it one, I was thinking that too, and wondering if that was ever going to be picked up on. Is that one of those things that we're just supposed to forget, like we have to take a leap and just not pay attention to? Or is there any possibility that Patty has an accomplice? Is there someone else that's working with her? We know she's got that orderly wrapped around her little finger, trying to get her to do her art therapy class and really trying to get her to paint her emotions. Is there someone else on the inside that she's working with? Or is there going to be some kind of weird twist, like is somebody else like Dr. Anderson still alive and working with Patty, or Sage, or Chloe? Or is there somebody else in here, Victor, that we don't know about yet, who is helping Patty go ahead with her blackmail against Sharon? Don't know. Jamie left me a voicemail saying, don't you just love soap opera amnesia? Hello, Victoria. Are you forgetting all of the cheating that you've done in the past? Yes, Jamie, soap opera amnesia, because literally everyone in this town cheats, and then literally everyone walks around being judgmental toward everyone else when they do it. It's just a pattern. It's been so rich this week watching everybody have a comment like that Travis slept with the boss's wife, when Ashley's had affairs, Jack, Phyllis, Victoria herself, Victor, Nikki, absolutely everybody, Jill, they've all had affairs. It is not new. It is not gasp worthy. Daisy on Facebook says, I love that Ashley is friends with the woman Travis had the affair with, Michelle. I hope she comes to town soon so we can find out what really happened. If Travis really did love her and was sent packing, he may still have feelings for her. What would Victoria do then? Fight for her relationship or leave it? It would be an interesting storyline if they bring Michelle into the mix. Daisy, I was thinking the same thing, exact same thing. Second they started mentioning Michelle and it started connecting that she is someone who, it wasn't just an affair, there was obviously somebody that he loved, or he, in the same way as Billy, kind of was drawn into that, and despite the fact that he was committed to the boss and the mentor, he found himself drawn in and falling in love with this woman. As soon as that became revealed, I was like, oh Lord, I hope they cast her. I, in fact, immediately went to check my CBS Soaps in Depth site to see if there was any casting news, which is when I found out about Steve Burton leaving the show, because I think that would be such a great idea. Cast Michelle. Yes, that would throw a little hitch in to that threesome. She has a connection to Ashley in Genoa City. I like it. I like that idea, and I wish they'd pursue it. Mary Ann at yrchat.com says, since there will be a writer change in a matter of weeks, I wonder if this Restless Abby is a limbo plot. I'm really glad you mentioned that, because we are going to be getting a new head writer, or we already have a new head writer, and those scripts will start to appear, I'm sure, within the coming weeks. But I do keep asking myself, what is going on with Abby and Stitch? Why is Y&R choosing to do this same story over and over again when it comes to them? I mean, we've had several breakup/makeup moments. The last 3 times we've seen Abby and Stitch, it's been the same song and dance. So I kind of like that your theory there, that maybe it's a kind of just something to keep to keep Abby on the screen while they figure out something else to do with her. And the way she was fawning over Travis kind of made me think, I wonder if there's any chance Abby's going to end up hooking up with Travis. Who knows? Let's see. Justin left me a message on Facebook with another one of our theoretical questions. Justin says, if Danny came back to Genoa City and did a concert, what famous singer or band would you like to see him do a duet with? For me, my two choices would be Cher or Kenny G. I like that question. Let's toss that out to the crowd this week. Danny Romalotti comes back into town to do a big old rock concert. Who should he bring on stage with him? Go. Everybody tell me who you'd like to see Danny do a duet with. I know what? I feel like it's probably lame, but I wouldn't mind seeing him just do a duet with Lauren again, that for, you know, the old days. Or I guess I could go big and pick somebody, like maybe somebody 80s, that maybe with a hairband. Maybe Danny and Guns N' Roses would be fun, or just like maybe Danny and Sting. I don't know. I'd like to get a throwback to Danny's big days when he was the biggest rock star in the world and in Wisconsin. Okay, everybody. Now, next week, I have to give you guys a heads up that there's going to be kind of either a shortened YNR chat or just an audio YNR chat. I have a little family and friends party to go to, and I'm sure that I'm going to have time to do a YNR chat, but it's probably not going to be full video, full audio for an hour. I'm kind of thinking it's probably either going to be just audio, or it will maybe be a short video, but we'll just see what I have time for. But just a heads up about that, it'll possibly be shorter and not as grand as your every week YNR chat, but I will be back the following week in all of my grandeur, I promise. Until then, though, you can leave me your comments at yrchat.com. On the blog, there's lots of people talking there. It's really fun to read your comments as well as see you interacting with each other. But you can also, on the yrchat.com, find links to the Facebook and YouTube page if you would prefer to leave comments there. You can also find the RSS feed link if you're a podcast listener or you want to be a podcast listener. And of course, there's my voicemail, 309-588-4569. So many ways if you would like to feedback and give me your opinions about YNR. I always love hearing them, and I will see you next week in some capacity, even though if it's a little bit reduced, but I will be back and we'll chat about the show again. Okay, you guys, love ya. Bye.